those seeds, it's not like the most impactful tech or anything. I don't know if any of our runners today are practice at it, though.
Well, we are off, and we have all 4 starting in Link's house getting just $50, and he's just a boy saving and quitting out, and the other 3 are heading up to sea. We have pendants at Eastern and Desert. It looks like one of the 5-6 crystals at Tower, and an early lamp in the Sanctuary.
Hits you taking those 50 rupees and going to buy bombs right above Lake Hylia. Usually you walk over to Sahasrala's hut after this. Very nice anti-meta play. Sahasrala's hut is typically a location people try to put off for a long time unless they find a bow.
Yeah, or try to do the pod Eastern combo. Just a piece of heart on Uncle, so nothing to worry about there. Another piece of heart in the bottom chest there, and now it looks like he's just a boy. He might be checking to see if Ag is going to be required for Lumberjack.
Now, Hitsu does have the option to go into Eastern following this, but that's not typical with this timing of coming here. He's walking outside, though. Are we going early Eastern?
It could be. He got Quake, so we'll see if that's going to be needed, if TR is one of the dungeons he decides to do.
These are not the hardest dark rooms ever or anything, but things change when you have 3 hearts and no items.
Yeah, and had he gone over to Sanctuary, he would have had the lamp, so we'll see how that changes his decision. But yeah, the early Eastern dark rooms are ones that everybody needs to learn if you're going to ever run this race, run the randomizer. So and Moogle getting his check on Agate. Is that? Oh, that is a bow. Interesting. And with Eastern being a crystal, sorry, a pendant, not necessarily sure if we'll need that or not. Although technically to get through GT, you do need at least one of the bows.
Yeah, I imagine Eastern being a pendant is a big reason why Hitzian's even here. Because if it's a pendant, you don't
out of it.
Yeah, you don't got to kill the boss anyway, right?
Technically not, unless it turns into a pedestal seed, which I doubt that's gonna happen.
Wow, I can't believe you said that. Don't put things like that out in the ether, man.
Sorry. I know chat always loves to see Aga ped seeds. They love to troll the runners as much as possible.
Don't I know it?
Just a pizza heart in the chicken hut.
Looks like Matt's picked up a sword, though. Yet another item Hitzian probably wouldn't mind having right now.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried for him. Like, the dark room where you go through like the 3 dark rooms to get the key and everything, they're not super dangerous or anything, but you have 3 hearts and everything does half a heart of damage. It's not unlikely that you're going to get hit 6 times trying to walk through there.
Oh, easily. And there's a bottle in the back of the well, which is really nice because then you can get Sick Kid and all that stuff in. Now, the only thing that would be kind of cool is if Sick Kid has flute, then you can activate the swag duck.
Oh, Hitzian manages to kill one of the Stalfos with the pot. That is going to help immensely for getting whack. Does take a couple hits in this room, but makes it all the way through the dark rooms. 2 hearts remaining.
Yeah, as I mentioned, definitely ones you want to learn. Easier with a sword, certainly, but...
Oh, he misses the damage boost! That is nerve-wracking.
So he's just a boy checking Sick Kid for $50.
Alright, so Hitzian does make it all the way through Eastern. He gets all the stuff there he can get. He didn't find any progression, but at least he didn't die.
Yeah.
And there is your Lamp Consolation Prize.
He's probably going to leave it. Yeah, leave a couple bombs in Sanctuary just for safety. And now as runners start rechecking what other runners have, we still are looking for at least mitts to go up Death Mountain, or a flute to get up there. We do have Ice Rod Cave, Mini Moldorm Cave, the dam to check, plus everybody's favorite, Agina's Cave.
Yeah, South Shore is definitely going to be the play here for our runners who are finishing Kakariko. He's just a boy headed there now.
I'd like, and we also have the back. We also have Escape and the back of Escape, depending on when they get a glove.
The Escape, not too unlikely to be the answer here. Both the Dark Cross chest, yeah, the Dark Cross chest can have the small key, and the lamp puts that in logic.
Oh, for sure. Just $20 inside. We'll see what happens when we drain the swamp.
South Shore, of course, is much more dense for item checks than the Escape. So people do like to put off the Escape for a little bit, especially when you have something as nice as South Shore available to you. Mini Moldorm Cave, especially.
If you should find a mirror going through South Shore, then you could check everything inside of Escape, mirror back to the start if you get everything to run Aga, and just do Aga straight from there.
Yeah, that's the other big concern, like wanting to avoid doing the Escape right now, because if it's Aga required, and then you leave the Escape and have to come back later. So it'd be nice to do the Escape right before Aga, like you're saying.
So the sword was definitely in Blind's hut. So let's see what Mini Moldorm Cave has, as he's just a boy. He's heading in, that is in there now. Just killed the Trolldorm, Mini Trolldorm. There's our glove. And $5, 10 arrows, 10 more arrows, and $20. So that glove gets us up to Death Mountain.
Yeah, it gets us 2 checks on Death Mountain, as well as logical access to the back of Escape and Zora. So fun.
Fun. And it looks like he's just a boy is going to check the back of Escape first, and then see where he wants to go from there. Matt is now checking the swamp. We'll get his mitts, assuming he goes towards Mini Moldorm Cave.
Now, it is noteworthy here. He's just a boy did not go to Ice Rod Cave. He left after Mini Moldorm. So maybe one of our other runners will go check that out for us.
I tend to see runners, when they skip Ice Rod Cave, just skip it the entire seed. So no key there, but that was the map. So the key certainly could be in the Dark Cross. And it looks like Moogle is heading towards Agina's Cave.
Yeah, gonna check that ledge first, so it looks like. Oh, it's a cave, fun.
Uh-oh. Well, in order to get the cave, you do need to have the book or book to get it. So let's see if that's anywhere to be found. Looks like Matt's gonna head over towards Ice Rod Cave, so we'll get that check from him.
Yeah, I think it's a little aggressive for He's Just a Boy to skip Ice Rod Cave, seeing as how he didn't do Agina either. But
Which,
at least it's
10
consistent.
arrows. So he doesn't lose anything there, but he doesn't know that. We do.
Ice Rod Cave, what do you got? A thing!
Ooh, that's Bombos. So we have access to 2 of the 3 medallions so far, and technically all we need is a glove and flippers to have logical access. Oh, and a moon pearl to get logical access to Turtle Rock. I mean, to Ice Palace.
Yeah, Bombos may not be required for anything at all. So He's Just a Boy is not going to immediately get punished for skipping out on that. However, if they end up having to do Aga Tower with like the fighter sword, Bombos can be a great item for that. Definitely can save some time.
And he did find the second key, so Dark Cross will have the final item as the back of Escape had the map. See what the vanilla boomerang chest has today. Single arrow, the most important item in the game.
So it's interesting to know. So Hitzian, obviously, he went to the eastern area first, right? No one else has been there yet. You know, this is why that was such a great like anti-meta play, because everybody else is going to avoid that area for the entire game until they have a bow. Unfortunately, Hitzian, didn't find anything there, so he's not going to get super rewarded for it. But we can see why that was an anti-meta play.
Oh, for sure. And knowing that one of the bows is on Aga Ledge is interesting. Oh, there's Moon Pearl in Zelda's chest. So now we are hammer or glove upgrade away from Dark World access, or we need another sword or that cape to get to Aga.
Yeah.
And by going to Dark Cross, he's just a boy. We'll see what he gets there. But so far, Escape not really having very much.
The Moon Pearl.
Yes, Moon Pearl is in.
Oh, there's the mitts.
So there's our Dark World access.
No Aga yet, you guys. Maybe later.
Well, I think at this point, the only thing that, we still need access to the east side, technically speaking. So hammer or flippers or hookshot could help us with that.
Hookshot's only goes the other way.
Yeah,
but yeah, hammer and flippers would both give you access. Also, Aga access as well would give you logical access to East Circle.
What I've seen interesting is that sometimes if hammer or flippers are buried deep inside the seed, it could pay off to do Aga and spend that time to have that extra Dark World access rather than only going through Kakariko. Because that's all they have right now is Kakariko.
I think most of our runners would probably do the sequence break of that situation, which is the kern jump, where you can do a bomb jump into a fake flipper across the river there.
Oh, yes. I just learned that in my last commentary, that you can do that. And just $20 on Old Man.
Yeah, it's not the toughest sequence break to do or anything. Just relatively less known. Moogle Charm, unfortunately, getting dead rocked here on Death Mountain.
I failed to see the point, even as a kid, knowing having those dead rocks in the game. They were so annoying then, and they're so annoying now.
He's just a boy running into some problems as well here in the Vanilla Victory chest. Yeah. Got hit by the Gibdo and then immediately picked up by the Wallmaster.
Yeah, those Wallmasters are vengeful. Just a small key there. Ooh, mushroom on top of Spectacle Rock.
Yeah, unfortunately, did not find what he was looking for up there on the mountain. Moogle Charm's gonna have to go back to the escape. But when, though?
Yeah, that's the ultimate question.
Oh, he's going over to Eastern. That's not good.
Nothing in the chess game, just triple bombs. Haven't seen anything from He's Just a Boy out of Skull Woods just yet.
Nope, I'll just dungeon end him so far. Matt walking through Thieves Town. I'm curious to see if he's gonna full clear this. It is a pendant, and he does not have the hammer. I think he's probably just gonna death warp out.
Yeah, it's quicker to get the first 4 items and see what they are, and then if they are important, then, you know, if you get the hammer, then maybe you full clear it. But being a pendant is less likely.
I think he only found 1 item in the front, though, so going to the back is not super crazy.
No, but he's gonna death warp out. And Moogle heading into Eastern. Might have a little bit of an easier time having the lamp.
Alright, definitely easier than Hitzian did. And this also makes up for Hitzian's play, right? As soon as another player does the thing that you did, then you're back on equal footing.
And there is the mirror in C-shaped house. So that that'll allow He's Just a Boy to check all mirror locations.
Pretty darn gross. Oh, Hitsy's gonna do the fake flipper.
And he has the money to go up to Zora, so we'll see.
It's definitely a curious play, because he does have Darkhold access.
He does.
But, you know.
But nobody else has checked this yet, so this will be nice information for us. So I'm wondering if he should have checked the waterfall cave first, so he could have water walked.
He may be doing
back to Hobo.
He may be doing
well, is it
P-Train's play? P-Train often tells me that he likes to just do Hobo for Hobo and nothing else. No, he's going.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if it's faster technically to go up to Waterfall Wishing first and then walk down, but I guess that's why these runners are running and not me.
I don't think it's faster.
Don't know the fastest way.
It's a lot of screen transitions, because you'd have to like reset up the water walk afterwards too. Maybe with boots, if you had boots, I could see that being maybe faster.
And Matt is rescuing Jeremiah. We'll take him on... Oh, I thought he was going to take him on a world tour. He's going to take him right back. Maybe he'll take the purple chest on a world tour instead. And we'll also get information based on what the model is. Ooh, there's our book. There's our access to the cave.
Yeah, but it's locked behind the flippers, which give you East Darkhold access already. So,
yep.
Weird.
And a fire rod on the Smiths. Fire Smiths today. So that gives Skull Woods finishable if they decide to go that route. But it looks like he's going to take the purple chest on a nice world tour. And Moogle is finally heading to the back of Escape, where he will get his Moon Pearl.
Yeah, the Fire Rod does put a Mothula into Logic. Unfortunately, it's a version of the Mothula fight that nobody really wants to do. Very few hearts, green mail fighter sword, no hammer. Ugh.
Yeah, Mothiel is not a fun fight regardless. I wouldn't... Yeah, that's never a fun fight with so little health.
And with it being a crystal, you're definitely going to want to kill the boss your first time in the dungeon if you can. So we might see players put off going to Skullwoods just for a little bit, even though it is a crystal dungeon that they can full clear.
Yeah, especially with the low health, as you mentioned. No hammer, no safeties other than the one potion and fighter sword. I don't even know how many shots Mothila would take with just fighter sword. I'm guessing
16.
9 or 10? 16?
16 with the slashes, yeah.
Oy. Definitely not worth it at that point. And Matt going into Hype Cave, or what was Hype Cave, I don't know if it's still considered that anymore, formally.
That's
There's
pretty
Master
hype.
Sword.
That's
Yep.
a pretty hype hype cave.
There's Hammer and Shield. That's a 10 out of 10 right there. So that makes Mothula maybe a little bit more tempting now with the potential, with the hammer and Master Sword at least.
Yeah, it looks a lot more feasible.
And it looks like He's Just a Boy is going to follow in Matt's footsteps with the Purple Chess World Tour. For the Fire Shield, not required, but he's going to now head over to check Agina's Cave. He does not have the book, so he cannot pair this up with Desert Palace, which is also a pendant, which you really don't want to go into anyway.
Yeah,
and
it might be
He's Just a Boy has a shovel. Just noticed.
So we got Hitsi and headed into Skullwoods here. Unfortunately, he still hasn't found that fire rod, so maybe we'll get a single dip Skullwoods eventually.
Perhaps. I'm just kind of wondering, with Pod being the only, well, Pod and technically GT and you could do Silverless Ganon. Technically, you don't need the bow to beat Ganon, but with a sword on Lumberjack, we still would need the boots to even be talking about getting that Lumberjack item. So I'm going to guess these runners are going to try to find the other bow, since now we have progressive bows and we don't necessarily need that one just yet. So we'll see.
Now it is possible though for the other bow to be locked behind the bow, right? So like,
oh, it sure is.
It could be up the gauntlet in GT, or it could be on Helmosaur himself, which would actually be like hard required to get the Agabow.
Well, we'll see if anyone heads that way, and we'll see. I don't know if I would. I mean, it certainly could be. We don't know. We'll have to see if we find the other bow in a easy location.
Yeah, it's a tough call to make. And it's also possible that we'll have to get a bow to even get to GT. Like one of the 7 crystals may be locked behind Ganon's Tower because it's 6/6, and you don't have a choice in which one you skip.
So Moogle and Hitzeman are headed through their Thieves Down play now. As He's Just a Boy is heading towards Agina, and Matt is in Tower of Hera.
Yeah, Moogle Charm, like our runners before, choosing to leave after the first 4. I imagine Hitsian will do the same.
Yeah, especially it being a pendant, it's not as nice. No real reason to do that at this point.
I misspoke. Hitsian, let's do it. Pendant thieves, let's go.
Well, the blind fight is scripted if you can keep him on script. It's relatively an easy fight. However, if you don't, that's when he becomes one of the harder fights, just like Mothula.
Hitsian is a very, very strong runner. I don't think he's really worried about the execution required for this dungeon, but
sure
it's the potential of skipping the Thieves' Town big chest, because if you skip and leave one item here, it's very, very difficult to route in coming back. So if it's progression, you just straight up full clear the game. But then also just the general time requirement to get through this dungeon and check these chests, and it being a pendant, other people are probably going to be skipping this.
Yeah, which all of our runners so far, other than him, has. So unless there's something like another bow in the back of Thieves' Town or on Blind himself, then he could be avoiding an Agaseed if the second bow happens to be here and nobody else checks it.
Moogle Charm picking up his fire rod. Still nobody's been back to Skull Woods.
It looks like Moogle is
Matt!
purple chest behind.
Matt! Oh, poor Matt. Sorry, I was talking over you. Matt was trying to do the bomb jump to the Herod big chest and stepped 1 pixel too far, which drops him all the way to the bottom floor.
He's just boy picks up his mushroom, and we'll head into Hera. So I don't know if have we seen all the dungeon items in Thieves' Town?
I know there was one in the front. I'm not sure. I believe I saw
And
the
I know
other.
he has a small key, so I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see what blind drops. So if there was only one dungeon item in the front and blind drops a item, then I think he's good as far as not doing, not getting messed up by the big chest, but we'll see what blind drops at this point. Down goes Trolldor for Matt.
Hey, progression.
Ooh, there's slippers.
Hitsian on the god route. It's gonna take a while. It'll be a while before anybody comes back to Thieves' Town.
Yep, for sure.
Nose flippers are absolutely logically required. It is potentially possible that we could skip Swamp and Sequence Break Ice, so the flippers aren't necessarily going to be needed, but it does add 1 extra dungeon to Hitsian's ability to clear.
Well, the only real reason that it would be required is if Swamp had like Ice Rod or something, and then you can't skip both of them.
Now, it's important to remember, guys, the players don't necessarily get to choose which crystal they skip. The logic for item placement does take the 6/6 Ganon's Tower requirement into account, and it can lock one of the 7 crystals behind Ganon's Tower, forcing you into doing the other 6.
Oh, that I did not know. But I'm newer to these changes. Like I've only done the 7-7 and then the Master Sword pedestal seed so far. I haven't done any of these cool custom races yet.
I think on the whole, most runners, people who play competitively quite a lot, they don't like modes like this. They want normal seeds. So I imagine we probably have a smaller turnout for this.
Matt grabs the flute, by the way. Because he has hammer, he's able to get the flute. So that gives him access to Misery Mire and at least seeing what the medallion is.
Yeah, Desert Palace as well. Nobody else has the book except for Hitzian. This will be their first chance.
Right, but Matt also has the flute and the powder. So he could go grab Magic Bat and activate his flute at the same time.
Yep.
Looks like Matt is going to be at opening the portal for TR, and if it's Bombos, I'm wondering if he opens it up while he's here.
Yeah, no reason not to open it.
It is Bombos. He can open it. He can't do anything in it, but he can open it.
So I'm real curious what Hitzian's going to do after he finds this hammer, because he knows that most people are going to be skipping those flippers. He knows that it was a really terrible spot for them to be. So he might be thinking he wants to press that flipper's advantage. Well, the hammer lets him full clear Ice Palace. So we may see him dive that real soon. But then again,
full clear it without the hook shot?
Yeah, he can sequence break it. And it might not be hook shot locked anyway. And speaking of the hook shot,
there it is.
Just sitting there in Super Bunny Cave.
Super Bunny Cave.
Right next to the hook shot cave. Oh, that's so gross. I know I personally try to route very efficiently, so I avoid coming up to Dark Death Mountain without the hookshot, so I don't orphan hookshot cave. So a location like that is very disgusting to me.
Almost as bad as hookshot being in hookshot cave itself.
Well, that's still fun though, right? So like it's gross. It takes me a long time to get there, but once I get there, I feel really good because it's so funny.
Matt picking up half magic. Really the only item worth speaking of in that area.
Moogle Charm has found his way over to Palace of Darkness. He does not have a bow. I'm not sure if he has a potion to do the potion camera unlock glitch. He does. He has a green potion. Okay.
Which I'm going to assume he's going to put into effect immediately and check that side since Cane of Burna was the first item. And he needs a key. And just makes that mental mistake.
It does not feel good, this situation, because you came to pod thinking there might be progression here, and then to find out that none of it's actually in logic. But you're kind of tied your hands, so you got to continue.
Yep. So Matt activating his flute. Bombo's tablet had just a piece of heart. And Moogle is going to be doing the potion glitch and sequence breaking.
He's going to desert. Maybe Hitzian doesn't know that it's a defeat cannon seed. Maybe he thinks this is a pedestal seed. Because this is his third pendant dive.
Well, if that's the case, then if he beats this and then go clear Aga, get the bow and be done. But then you still, like I said, need to find the boot somewhere. But yes, it is a 6/6, so pedestal not required technically to win to beat the seed unless there's something there that's important. Looks like Matt's gonna head to the back of Skull Woods, so we'll finally see what is
Oh yeah,
there.
Mothula, yeah. If so, Desert was not Bootslag. Hitzian will likely be killing Landmolus.
Yeah. Well, he found the flippers in on blind, so he's probably just following like the pendant dungeons have had important things in this seed so far that he wants to make sure he doesn't forget.
Yeah, he knows, Killing Blind got him the flippers, and the flippers got him the book, and the book got him to Desert, so he's trying to follow this line of progression here. He just doesn't know about the flute, which would probably change his thinking, because the flute would also give him access to Desert. Nice fight from Matt the Ogre. Oh, Hitzian nopes out of killing Lammo. It's a little surprising to me, because, he did take the time to kill Blind. And from his point of view, killing Lammo continues his progression chain. Looks like Hitzian will be headed up the mountain, which does lead to some nice items. Hookshot and flute. Mughal finishing up his dive here in Pod. He did find the Ice Rod, which definitely nice thing to pick up. But he is leaving an item on the boss, I believe.
Well, without the bow, he can't get to the boss. And he's just a boy is having his Mothula fight. Half magic and fire rod makes this a little easier than and more pleasant to do, although the spikes don't.
So what's the answer? I think it's got to be Ice Palace. It might be Swamp, though.
Yeah, they can full clear Swamp, so... Well, Hitzian can. So, yeah, if there's a bow in there...
Now, it seems, I think it's unlikely that he's just avoid Matt and Mughal are going to, sequence break their way to Ice Palace, so we may see them dive Thieves down and find those flippers first. But for Hitzian, having to choose between Swamp or Ice in a situation like that, I think he's more likely to choose Swamp. Not just because of the item density, but also because he knows that you can't sequence break that, so it pushes his advantage from having those flippers. But definitely not going to be doing those horrible, horrible flipper dungeons until we check out what's on the mountain.
Well, Matt is heading towards Misery Mire, so we'll see what the medallion is, and we'll also be able to check Checkerboard Cave and the back.
Mire shed, pretty empty.
Nothing there.
And that was Ether to open Misery Mire.
So now we know we need, well, theoretically we'll need Ether, potentially, but let's see what Checkerboard Cave has.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say like what they need for go mode because it's variable, being a 6 crystal goal.
Oh, Swag Net! He skips on it. My favorite item.
As long as you only use it to kill Aga and not to catch fairies.
Oh, of course. I especially try it in the Aga 2 fight more often. Moogle and Hitzian are heading through Terror, as he's just a boy. He's gonna do his Mire area check, and Matt heading into Desert himself.
To answer Runner Watcher, unless something has been changed, Mimiclip is allowed in all normal races like this. It's only been disallowed for the tournament specifically.
And what I'm finding interesting is that Hitzian, with finding flippers, didn't go straight, considering he had everything to do it. Check to go into Swamp House, knowing that it's really the only dungeon that is locked behind the flippers, technically speaking, because you can sequence break Ice Palace. So it's really the only one that needs the flippers.
He didn't do it because he didn't have the hook shot. I think you're right. If he did have the hook shot, he absolutely would be in Swamp Palace right this second.
Oh, right, he doesn't have hook shot.
But when you have the whole mountain to do, which is a much more dense location, it makes more sense to go up there rather than trying to follow this logic chain and doing inefficient dips of dungeons.
I'm wondering if after he gets his hook shot on the mountain, if that's where he's gonna head.
Matt is fake flippering. Is he going to ice or is this just regular flipper checks?
Oh, we'll see. No, he's doing regular flipper checks, it looks like. Although he could come back.
Doing hobo before ice is pretty standard for this sequence break. I think you're right, though. I think he's just going to go to Zora.
Although from Zora, you still have the water walk, so you can walk back and still get to ice without... It's taking a while, but you can do it.
Google Charm grabbing his full loot here at a Paradox Cave.
Although the flute could send Hitzian to Mire before he would check once he gets the flute. I wonder if he'll end up checking Mire first. And Matt, is he heading to
it's Ice
Palace? Yay!
I don't need no stinking flippers.
Right?
This actually makes more sense in this particular scene with these settings than it does normally. Because, like, in a normal 7-7, if Swamp's a crystal, you have to have flippers. So sequence breaking the flippers doesn't make a ton of sense, because you're gonna find them eventually. And maybe you get to skip all those flipper checks by having, like, Go Mode flippers or something. But in this situation, maybe Swamp isn't necessary. We only need 6 crystals.
Unless the bow is locked behind the other bow. That's a
Or if, like,
convenient big
Ethers in
key.
GT or something.
Yeah, that's a convenient big key, though. I hate Ice Palace with a passion. Hated it as a kid, hate it now.
It's pretty horrible with this item set, but I think if you have, like, boots and temper sword and all that stuff, I think it's, like, actually kind of a cool dungeon with all the bomb jumps and the cool tech through the rooms.
Oh, for sure. I'm just not good at executing the bomb jump, so it takes me, like, much longer to get through ice than it needs to. And He's Just a Boy does clear desert. So he has green pendant now. So we'll see what.
Yeah, he's looking for that progression, which we currently know to be the flippers on blind. But going to desert looks a lot more appealing than going back to Thieves Town.
Especially after they've left it.
It looks like he's going to combine that green pendant turn in with a pod dive. Which
That's
will
pretty smart, although he doesn't know it's bull-locked yet.
Yeah, he will find the ice right here if he sequence breaks, but yeah, nothing else. Just to answer chat, 6-6 means that we need 6 crystals instead of 7 to open Ganon's tower, and 6 crystals instead of 7 to defeat Ganon.
And he'll also get his tempered sword. That's where the tempered sword is in pod.
Spike Cave, just 20 rupees for Mobile Charm there.
There's Kena Samaria on Sahashala.
Desert's required too?
Yep.
Oh my god.
So that puts Misery Mire. Well, we still need Bombos, which we still need Ether for Misery Mire, but now we can get in and full clear Turtle Rock.
So this is fantastic news for He's Just a Boy that he got that Kena Samaria, because unlike the flippers, they won't be able to sequence break that. They will have to find that. And it's bad news for Moogle Charm and Matt the Ogre, right? Because now they have to choose to go to a pendant dungeon. That sucks. But it is the worst possible news for Hitzian 1337. He is going to take a very, very long time to decide to go back to desert to kill a pendant boss for a mystery item.
Yeah. Because he got both items out of it. So it looks like he's heading towards Swamp. So yeah, the longer it takes him to get back to desert, the further and further behind in this seed he's going to be, even with the flippers. The flippers that gave him the advantage earlier is gone now that he missed Kena Samaria. And I think you mentioned it earlier, when you skip out on one location, when you have the opportunity to full clear, that's when you leave items behind, and that's when you find yourself in trouble.
Yeah, it wasn't like a bad gamble, because going to Lamo and doing the Lamo fight is comparatively much less efficient than doing like the front of desert. So it's not crazy that he skipped it. It's just this particular seed, it's gonna burn him.
Yep. Well, it's like that saying that, you know, a chest is not important until it is, and when it is, and you skip it, well, and it's progression, then you got to find yourself back there some.
So best case scenario here for Hitzian is that, assuming that he doesn't just go to Lammo for some reason before it makes sense to do so, that there be something really important that doesn't lock very much here in Ice Palace. Like the Ether Medallion. Like the Ether Medallion would be pretty fantastic to find here. Because everybody else, just like how he's not going to go back to Lamo, they're probably not going back to Blind anytime soon for those flippers.
Yeah. And since Hitzian is in Swamp, he's the only one that can do Swamp. So if he finds Bo and Boots in here, well, then that could give him some, but he just got to get himself back to Desert.
He's just a boy going through Bowless Eastern Palace. This is our third runner to make this dive.
And Matt is on his cold stare fight.
Oh, no. Poor Hitzian.
Oh, there's Ether.
Yeah, Ether.
So
it would have been much better if that had been in Swamp for Hitsu.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But this might also be kind of bad news for Matt, because I think it's pretty likely he'd do a Mire dive without the cane before killing Pendant Lamo. Well, definitely likely he'd go to TR.
Well, if he were to go into Misery Mire, that will at least put him in the right place. So he may try to clear Misery Mire to not find the Samaria, and then maybe while he's there he clears Landmole and gets Green Pendant. It's the only thing that can get him back into that area at least, and he's pulling out his flute, so we'll see. With him having it, I would gamble that, I think.
Looks like he's choosing to not worry so much about the Ether Medallion and going straight to the bow dungeons. Man, everybody loves these bowless bow dungeons, don't they?
Yeah.
Everyone except for Hitzian. Alright, Boots and Swamp, that's what we need to say.
Yeah. So which is, if we knowing that we could at least read the pedestal, if pedestal has the other bow, is it better to clear the bow? Well, then then it could get the other runners to clear the pendant dungeons, pull the pedestal, get the bow, rather than doing Aga, and then that will get them their flippers and their canes and Samaria.
Yeah, unfortunately, for He's Just a Boy and Matt the Ogre, checking pedestal isn't really an option. Even if they go do the flipper checks and find the book, like, they're not going to go check pedestal. Like, it would be silly to do so at this point in the game. Where Moogle Charm and Hitzian not having killed Mothula yet, they would be a lot more convenient for them to just mirror and check ped real quick.
And I apparently made a mistake. Yeah, the ped is, sorry about that, the ped is bow locked. I forgot that Eastern was a pendant. Thank you, Orange in chat, for pointing that out. Definitely forgot.
I mean, it could still be a bow, though.
It could still be a bow, but
just
you
not
have
what
to get
it's gonna get. The Swamp hasn't paid out yet for Hitsu.
No, sadly. And if it has absolutely nothing of progression, then you know, then the flippers were never required for this particular seed, even though swamp is a crystal. And I'm wondering where Hitzian's gonna go afterward. As he's just a boy and Matt are in pod, and we'll get their ice rods, which Matt already has, and their tempered swords.
It is unlikely, but it is possible that the bow is not required to get to Ganon Tower. Like if both bows are locked behind the basement of GT, you can skip out on pod and get there. We still haven't seen those boots. Or the other bow.
Did anyone check King's Tomb or Graveyard Ledge?
Well, we can't check
King's Tomb because you don't have boots.
I don't think we have
Graveyard Ledge?
No.
Boots could be there.
Yeah, possibly. And Swamp was completely empty. Hitzian cannot be feeling good right now.
No, he probably feels way, way behind. Although, from what he got, the information he got by killing Blind and getting those flippers led him on this wild goose chase for absolutely nothing. I mean, yes, he does get a crystal, but it's a crystal that the logic may have assumed that you didn't need.
Don't write off Hitzian just yet. Even if he does all the worst possible things, this is one of the best runners in the scene right now. And he definitely has the execution to make up for any number of routing faux pas.
Oh yeah, all these runners are really up there, so yeah. He's just a boy, is going through Ice Palace, and will eventually get his Ether Medallion.
I mean, technically we are in no mode if we assume Mimic Clip Drosy. So if one of the runners had all the information that we had and also was able to Mimic Clip GT, then yeah, we're in no mode.
Yeah. How do you mimic clipping GT?
If you hold, or like you push the mimics up against the wall and then do these little one-frame inputs to turn them slightly. They go 1 pixel into the wall, like 1 pixel at a time, and eventually, if they get deep enough in the wall, they kind of like float off screen and the door opens.
That's insane. I've never seen that before.
I don't know if we'll get to see it today. I believe it is disallowed for the tournament, and most people who are playing competitively right now are really tournament focused.
Oh, definitely. So Hitzian activating his flute.
Oh, am I mistaken? Is it not disallowed in the tournament? I may be wrong. I don't know. I can't do it anyway, so it doesn't really matter to me.
I didn't even know it existed, so there you go. Hitzian, where are you going? Hopefully...
It's I think the big thing with the Mimic Clip is that we don't get to see it much anymore since V31 made the bows progressive. It's just so much less likely than it used to be that you would even be in GT without a bow. Which makes a game mode like this, the 6-6, very unusual.
Definitely. So, with finding ether, I'm wondering if progression is in Misery Mire, knowing what we know, where Kana Samaria is behind the green pendant.
Okay, say it again. That's a lot of words.
Oh, what I said was knowing that Samaria is hitting behind green pendant. Does progression have to be in Misery Mire, knowing we have access? Well, we have commentators' access to Misery Mire because only He's Just a Boy has the King of Samaria, although he will be getting his Ether Medallion here.
Yeah, it seems pretty likely that the Canis Mario will lead to progression, but I think it's probably way more likely that that progression is in Turtle Rock instead of Mire. Like, Bow in Turtle Rock is something we've all seen hundreds of times.
Yep. If He's Just a Boy, that I might head up to TR.
Oh, that's where I got.
Although he doesn't have bombos.
It was SG Live that banned Mimic Clip. Okay, my mistake, you guys. It is allowed for the current fall tournament.
Was Bombos in this game?
Bombos is Ice Rock Cave. He's Just a Boy. Noped out of Ice Rock Cave a long time ago. It has not.
Oh, so he's not. Yeah. Little does he know he needs it to get to TR.
Yeah, so given the choice, he has to go to Mire after this because he doesn't know. He doesn't know where Bombos is. Now, Ice Rock Cave, though, it is like if he's gonna do Ice Rock Cave, immediately after finishing Ice Palace is the time to do it.
Yeah, he's not gonna get any better chances for sure.
Oh, I agree with you, Orange Theodol. Mire is definitely the better play than TR. It's a safer play, definitely. And it's the one I would make, but like statistically, it's probably TR.
Ice Rod was in pod in the where all the money is. I forget what that room is called, but that's where
the Rupee basement.
Yeah, the Rupee basement. And so we know that Trinex won't have a bow, or he could have the progressive bow, but he won't have the bow for the seed because Ice Rod is bow locked.
Right. He's just
Swamp did not have anything of value, so no.
All right, finished Ice Palace. Not going to Ice Rock Cave. Let's see Mire.
Yeah. So his having Kana Samaria, despite with skipping Ice Rod Cave, is really gonna hurt. He's Just a Boy, so he has to find his way back there. Just as everybody's gonna have to find their way to the green pendant to get Kana Samaria.
So if he finds nothing in Mire here, we might see him go back to Thieves Town at that point and find those flippers, which would unfortunately lead to like a swamp folk there, though. But the dungeon you can do is always better than the dungeon you can't, right?
Oh, for sure.
It's entirely possible that we'll have runners getting to Ganon with 6 crystals in hand, but 6 different crystals between each other.
Oh, definitely. Well, Moogle is gonna get his slippers. He is killing blind. So he'll be potentially sent on that wild goose chase.
Yeah, he kind of got stuck where he had to go to a pendant dungeon, either desert or Thieves Town. And little does he know, they were both the answer.
Yep.
Hitsune headed up to Catfish. I think we have seen this already. He's just boy headed through Misery Mire. We are looking for boots or bow. Either one would be definite go mode. Sans big key torch anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so boots would be definite go mode, and bow would be maybe go mode.
So far, he's just boy hasn't found, I don't think, any items yet in Misery Mire. And yeah, Moogle is gonna follow the flippers to Swamp Palace, full clear it to find nothing.
Yeah,
Or nothing of value.
Hitsune-
There are items there, they're just not valuable progression.
And meanwhile, Hitsune going through Ice Palace, he will find the Ether Medallion here, which he will probably need to finish the game. But that does put him farther away from going back to kill Lamo for that Canis Maria. But then, in another way, closer.
Ooh, Matt heading in back into Thieves Town, so he will get his green pendant. So that's a good thing for him.
Yeah, he's in that same situation that Moogle Charm was just in. Matt's just a little farther behind because he did Ice Palace.
Well, knowing what we know, and knowing that green pendant is more important, he's going to again be in that situation where he's also going to full clear Swamp Palace.
Yeah, definitely. I think, though, at this point, they're happy to see any progression. The seed is getting pretty thin. There's a heart container in Mire.
That's one of the
Not
items.
super helpful. Oh, snap!
There's the bow.
That is a bow. So we are in for He's Just a Boy. We are in basically go mode here. As long as the big key isn't on the torch in Ganon's tower, this is go mode.
Yep. And that's a great place to find it.
This is however, bad news for everyone else who doesn't have that Canis Maria, because they are going to come to Mire looking for progression, and they're going to find it, and then they're going to go full clear pod and full clear Eastern, and then eventually get bottlenecked again and have to go to desert.
Yeah. So either way, they all have to get to desert. So he's just a boy's race to lose, unless, as you mentioned earlier,
Oh right.
boots is required.
Okay, I'm sorry, guys. We're in no mode. He's not in go mode. He still needs Bombos or the flippers.
Oh, yeah, he skipped on Ice Rock Cave. But we are in commentators in go mode, technically. So yeah, no mode.
Hey,
I
6-6
wonder how
is
long
hard for us to figure out even.
Yeah. I'm wondering how long it's going to take him to get back to Ice Rod Cave, because he's probably long forgotten about it. Whereas the other runners who have not cleared the green pendant, not cleared Lamolus, at least that is still on their tracker as incomplete. So they will know that there's potentially something there.
Honestly, I don't think he's gonna go back to Ice Rock Cave. I think it's way more likely he just goes to Thieves Town and finds the flippers.
Yeah.
Which is actually probably better. Go Moating Swamp instead of Tiara. Although I guess if you factor in the time it takes to go kill blind, probably not better.
Probably not. All right,
Okay.
so Matt getting his flippers.
Yeah, so following this Vitreous kill, he's just a boy. Doesn't really have a ton of choices ahead of him. It's got to go to pod.
Yeah.
I was so scared he was going to do something else and make me look stupid. Thankfully, he's just a boy. Sees the same game that I do and came to the same conclusion. Pod is the only answer at the time. And like Moogle Charm and Hitsian before him, met the Ogre following those flippers into Swamp Palace, which will likely be a full clear.
Yeah.
Hitsian takes down Cold Stare. He does pick up the Ether Medallion. This will get him into Mire. He still does not have the cane, though. Hitsian also hasn't been to Pod, so he may opt for the Pod that he can't full clear rather than the Mire he can't full clear. But I think Mire's more likely.
Yeah, that's just an ugly choice. Either way you look at it.
Yeah, I think he chooses Mire here for two reasons. One, Mire is the smaller time commitment. It takes less time to get the front of Mire than the front of Pod. But then two, it follows his progression. Like he's following those flippers. They led to Ether. Now where does the Ether go? It takes him to Mire, like that.
Yeah.
Or he'll just leave after Mire Shed and go straight to Pod. I don't know. Hitsian does what Hitsian does.
Yeah. What would be best for him right now would be to do Green Pendant, because he's in the area.
It's not outside the realm of possibility that he does Green Pendant into Bola's Pod, but I think it's way more likely that he just walks into Mire right now.
Well, what would you do? Would you go
I'd go to Mire.
Would you? Yeah.
Like if I'm in exactly Hitsian situation, like we had identical routing up to this point, yeah, absolutely, I would do Mire. I think it's worth noting though that we wouldn't have had identical routing. I would have played this seed so much differently than Hitsian. That's the cool thing about Rando though, is that there isn't like one way to route the game, you know?
That's one of the things I love about Rando, is that you can route it pretty much however you want.
Like Hitsian God visions his way to these flippers, and then nothing, right? He's just a boy God visions his way to the Gate of Samaria, but he's still missing stuff. There is no perfect route, or at least not one that people are likely to take.
So down goes Halmasaur King for just triple bombs. So he'll go in, he'll clear out Eastern, and then where does he just the boy goes next?
his choices are fairly thin. Ideally, he either goes to Ice Rod Cave and gets Bombos for Go Mode, or he goes to Beast Town and kills Blind to get Flippers for Go Mode.
Yeah, because then if he then he can go into Go Mode for Swamp and then never go into TR. So he may not necessarily be in the most trouble just yet, unless the big key is on the right side. Which sounds just as ugly to me.
You mean on the torch?
No, if it's on the right side, you need Kina Samaria to,
Oh, he has time.
to get to the right side.
It's Bombos that's missing from Ice Rod Cave.
Yeah, it's Bombo, so he can't get into TR. But if he finds Flippers first, then he can at least, yeah. Yeah, my logic on this seed is totally like...
Our brains stop working. That's the thing.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, Kane is definitely hard required for this seed. Unskippable. And yet still only one of our runners has the cane. Oh, he's doing Smith sequence completely. I thought maybe he'd just do hammer pegs and then go into Thieves Down. Or no, he's already done Smith and Purple Chest, hasn't he?
He's just
Yeah, he did it early. Okay, so potentially Thieves Down dead right after this.
Again, he's in the area, so... And Hitzian is in Misery Mire without the Cane of Samaria, sadly. But little does he know that it is a mirror away from where he is now.
It's a little surprising that He's Just a Boy never went back to Ice Rod Cave. Because the typical strategy for choosing to skip it early is that you're skipping the walk to it. And then as soon as you have the flute or you're flippering in the area, you go to Ice Rod Cave real quick, which, you know, most people walk to early in the game. I think
assuming he forgot all about it.
Not everybody uses a map tracker, and even those who do can mistrack things sometimes.
Oh, for sure. And from what I've noticed is that once you're past a certain point, you're in your brain, even if it's on your tracker or something you didn't get, you're like, oh, I'm past this, so I must have gotten this, so there's nothing there. There was nothing there that I remember. Even, you know what I mean? So he may have thought he went to Ice Rod Cave, you know, in his brain since where he is, and but he's going to be in a good spot because he'll get his flippers here, which will get him into Go Mode. So
Hitzian did find his bow in Misery Mire. This puts him just Ice Rod and Cane of Samaria from Go Mode. Oh no, just Cane of Samaria from Go Mode because he did Swamp. He's going to full clear pod here. There is no question of that. He will collect every single item in this dungeon. And then I'm not sure if we left an item behind on Armos, but after getting nothing in pod...
I believe, but I don't remember.
Oh, on Armos?
Oh no, it was that.
We never saw Armos. But I'm not sure if there's an item left in Eastern Palace. Everybody did that early dip, but I don't know how many items they found. But if he gets nothing in pod, he'll probably do Eastern if there is an item there.
Yeah.
It's so hard to decide to go back to a pendant boss that takes a long time to walk to for one item after you've already done the front.
Yeah, and He's Just a Boy is making the right call here. At least he'll get blind. He'll be able to Go Mode Swamp Palace and then go to GT. Whereas the other runners who don't have Kina Samaria and have flippers will have to find their way back to Lambo eventually. So even though he missed out on Bombos, that's not going to hurt him as much because of the seed being 6-6 as the other runners who don't have Kina Samaria have to find their way back to that pendant dungeon. And it's like, do you backtrack to swap? And remember the flippers have been available for a very long time since they had Dark World access, and they could kill blind. So that also has to be in their minds too.
I just realized something. No one's gonna do TR.
Oh, there's no need for it.
I just thought, yeah, not one person will be doing TR this seed, unless they forget that it's 6-6, I guess. Or maybe Boots on the torch for Boots and TR or something is possible. Alright, he picks up his flippers. That is basically go mode.
Yeah. Bearing Boots needed. Yeah, he's in go mode at 1 hour, 20 minutes, and 55 seconds. So yeah, TR, I mean, depending on what, this is definitely a brain locking seed for sure.
On He's Just a Boy's advantage, though, this will be a go mode Swamp Palace. He might check some on the way chests just in case Boots, but for the most part, this should definitely be a very fast clear.
Yeah, because basically he'll check items maybe along the way, perhaps, if he wants, but yeah, he doesn't have to full clear it. So his route, even though he missed Bombos, is not going to hurt him. But had he not gotten flippers, then we could have had a situation where we had runners who would have had to do TR rather than going through swamp, and neither one.
I think time-wise that would have been superior, I believe. TR and Ice Rock Cave instead of Swamp Go mode and full clear Thieves Down.
Well, he is going to check the chest. I thought he was going to check the hammer lock check. I'm like, oh, why are you doing that? But he needs the hammer for the next room.
Yeah, he'll probably like open Waterfall chest, and if he's feeling rambunctious, maybe go down to the flooded room. But that should be it in this dungeon.
Yeah, I doubt it. Yeah. What's going to be interesting to me is if he joins us for a post-game interview, if he remembers that he actually could have had Bombos. But we'll find out later.
Matt the Ogre checking Bombo's tablet for us. Not the answer to your problems. Gotta do something terrible.
Yeah, we'll see. Oh, did Matt check Misery Mire yet?
No, this is his first time.
Yeah.
So this will put him in the same situation that Hitzian's in, where you have the bow but not the cane.
Yeah, so he'll do all the bow dungeons, and then he'll get locked, and then have to find his way back to desert, which I'm gonna guess Hitzian will go into next. He'll have to go back to after he clears Pod and Eastern. He will go back and go into Desert Palace. Would be my guess. Although maybe he goes into TR. Oh, he can't go into TR. He has to go. After this, he's gonna have to go back to Desert.
Who hits in?
Yeah, because I don't think he has anything left to do.
There's potentially an item in Eastern, but yeah, it's getting pretty pretty empty out there.
Well,
in Hyrule
even if
Field.
there's one item in Eastern, which I don't remember if there was or not, then it's not going to give him Key to Samaria, so that's going to send him back to Desert Palace because he can't get into TR and he can't finish Meyer.
Yeah, everyone will have to kill Lambo.
Yep. And then when they find, and then knowing that they already have the items, there will be just to kill Ammo and get Green Pendant, and they'll know that Green Pendant has the.
What is this, Pyramid Fairy?
I guess he could check
Yeah,
Pyramid Fairy.
that looks like Pyramid Fairy.
Yeah. And then to Desert. Alright, so he's just a boy. Will be heading up to GT. So as long as the big key is not on the torch, he is in go mode. And I see that people are guessing numbers in chat, so of where that big key is. Where do you think it's going to be, Cole?
3. Because, well.
I'm going to go with 6. But
Oh,
yeah,
do you think that I meant he was gonna check the torch? No, I'm sorry. He's gonna do magician strats. It's in Stalfos room.
Ah.
I would never wish that among our runners.
Well, if it is on the torch for whatever reason, they'll probably full clear GT before going back to any of the other dungeons to see if it happens to be there.
Yeah, most definitely. Like, worst case scenario for He's Just a Boy, it is on the torch and the boots are in, like, TR or something. Alright, hits in. Going back to desert. Let's do it.
Yeah, Hitzian, by gaining those flippers, had that wild goose chase. And desert was the answer all along.
Yeah, the weird thing is that the flippers led him to Green Pendant. He just didn't follow through.
Yeah.
Like, he found those flippers on blind. He did the flipper check, so he knew that the book came from those flippers. The book gave him access to desert, although he didn't know about the flute. And the only thing in desert was a cape, which he knew was nothing, and the Green Pendant. I guess maybe he was thinking the cape was going to be used for Ganon's or for Agatha or something.
Perhaps.
Because he had the Master Sword by then.
Yeah, he
I'm
did.
not thinking. I find it very surprising that he dipped Pendant Easter right away when the seed started. He full cleared Pendant Thieves without the hammer, and then he gets to Pendant Desert and says, "Nah, I don't need Grain Pendant. That's enough. That's enough." Because that would have changed the seed considerably if he had just made that one extra dive.
Yep. So Hitzian will kill Amolos, get Green Pendant, and then get his Key to Samaria, and then head back to Misery Mire.
They weren't on the torch, right?
No,
Okay.
the big key was not on the torch.
I
No.
wasn't watching. I have
I think it
one
was
job.
$5 on the torch, if I remember correctly.
Okay, so we are officially in go mode.
Yep.
The butter.
The butter.
Oh, we're doing full Dark Magician. Interesting.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of Dark Magician anymore ever since PKR popularized the mirror after compass room strat.
Oh, that I didn't know who did it, but I know that's really interesting. And Hitzian is officially in go mode with his Kina Samaria. We'll finish Misery Mire, and we'll then head up to GT.
Yeah, unfortunately, Hitzian is a fair shake behind Boy here. Barring some really horrible things happening, it's going to be pretty impossible to catch up. But he can still get a good time and definitely is ahead of our other runners.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But our race for 3rd and 4th is still pretty close. I think Mughal is a little bit further behind in that Matt at this point. So down goes Armos.
Yeah, they're just a room or two apart.
Yeah. Compass bottle. So it is not on the right side, it is on the left.
Dark Magician not paying off today.
Yeah, little does he know how big of a lead he actually has, so that not paying off isn't going to hurt him.
You know, honestly, I think he might suspect that he has a pretty big lead. Because he found that Canis Maria like fairly early, right? And then it also locked the bow. So he knows like the seed could be done faster. Probably doesn't think he's winning, but I bet he thinks he's doing pretty well.
Yeah. There's the map. Can't beat the dungeon without the map. If Hitzian goes full left, he will save a considerable amount of time, and he might, I don't say he catches up, but he might be able to make a run for it at least.
Yeah, definitely will save quite a bit of time taking the other route.
Oh, there's Big Key.
Yeah, just sitting there in fire snakes.
Canis Amario was on Green Pendant. 0 in chat. And now he'll head into the 2-man group. He'll be beginning his gauntlet pretty soon, as Hitzian is heading up the mountain.
Oh my gosh, there was an item in Eastern. Yeah, Armos has an item. There's no other reason to be doing this. Unless, I guess, maybe if you think it's Ped.
Oh, yeah. So He's Just a Boy is in the gauntlet.
Oh my god! Those are, what are those? What are those, chat?
Those are boots.
So, that's a bow. Boots are a bow. The other bow was on Lumberjack. You had to have the boots to get that. So that is a bow locked behind a bow.
Well, you had mentioned that much earlier in the seed, too.
That's
Bow
so
locked
funny.
behind the bow. Unfortunately for Matt, that's going to send him in the wrong direction. Because now he's going to check all the boots locked locations before he goes to Desert.
Yeah, this will actually be his first look at Lumberjack, too. So he'll find out that where the silvers are. I don't think there's any worry. He's probably not going to be going to kill Aga or anything.
I would hope not, but Moogle isn't going to be in the same position as Matt. They're both going to follow the boots. Oh my.
You skipped a torch. What are you doing? You skipped a torch. He's just a boy. Oh.
Oh no.
So he's a little light on magic. He has enough to do this with the lamp, though. He needs to wait for this torch to go out, though.
So if Hitzian goes full left, can he catch up?
No.
No, okay.
He can make up time. Like he'll make up some time, but it's too much right now. Unless he's just a boy like falls to Moldorm like 10 to 20 times, or hard locks and has to redo GT or something horrible like that. He's got a pretty decent lead on Hitzian.
And Hitzian is heading full left. He's not doing Dark Magician, so he'll make up some time, but not enough yet. And I'm sure, and knowing that now we know where the boots were is really disgusting, actually. Because
Pretty gross.
What's that?
It's pretty gross.
Chat mentioned it. All 3 pendant dungeons had something in this seed that was technically important. Although the boots, not necessarily, because now all the runners are going to check boots lock locations, but yeah. And Hitzian has his big key and is heading up the tower, as He's Just a Boy is heading to Aga 2 or the Geometry Wizard.
Yeah, and Matt the Ogre did decide to do Lammo before Pyramid Fairy, where Moogle Charm is going to do Pyramid Fairy first. This creates a bigger difference between them.
Yep.
No, they weren't logically required after all, because we're playing advanced, right?
Yeah. So Matt will be getting his green pendant. We'll be going to Sahashala to get his Cane of Samaria, as He's Just a Boy will be fighting Ganon. And Moogle will be checking Pyramid Fairy, and Hitzian is heading up the tower.
Yep, that's full and fed.
That?
We got Matt the Ogre going straight to that pedestal. He'll probably do green pendant right after.
Oh, he's gonna. Oh, so we'll get a pet check.
Nice dodges. The blind pet pole, Matt the Ogre. What do you have to show us? A whole pizza heart.
Well. So setting up torch glitch. Gets it and into spins.
Oh! That's
Takes
not
a
good.
fall. No.
He still has the lead over Hitzian, but if he does that again, not so much.
No. And Matt, the ogre, now officially enters go mode as he picks up his Cane of Samaria. And Moogle will be heading to Desert to fight Lamolus and get his Cane of Samaria. Although I'm hoping he does not pull Ped, but I think he will because he'll have all the pendants first. Crush it in chat. 6-6 means you only need to kill to clear 6 out of the 7 crystal dungeons to clear the seed, and he's just a boy takes another death now, so Hitzian certainly can catch up now.
I believe it was
another death or fall to Ganon. What's that?
He died to Ganon on purpose to refill his health. And it cost him like very little time because he did it right at the start of the fight.
Oh, okay. Head was a piece of heart.
Ugh, not the best dodges there. Down to 1 heart.
Does he have anything in those bottles?
I'm not sure. I gotta think no, because like there's no reason not to drink your potion right now. It's not like it needs the magic. Oh, and Hitzian taking a fall to Morgorm too.
So he'll get the torch glitch and start his spins. Is it 6 or 12 spins with Butter Sword?
It's 12 spins.
It's 12, okay. And then 24 with Master?
That's right.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it changed because of Butter from what he needed, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I think in against all enemies except for 1, Butter spins to the same amount of damage as Butter swipes, so the number of spins doesn't change.
Oh, okay.
Nice triples.
So, Hitzian heading into Aga 2. As Matt finishes up crystal number 6, and Moogle is going to Lamo. And he's just a boy, does kill Ganon, crosses, get your GGs in chat. He finishes with a official time of 1 hour, 43 minutes, and 17 seconds.
Does it say 17 on the IRC? Or are you just reading his timer?
I'm reading his timer.
Okay, yeah. So the official time is what it says in IRC.
Oh, I apologize.
Because people have to manually use their own timer. It doesn't make a difference. So it's like 14 seconds instead of 17. But he just does finish first on our restream here, and that was good for 3rd overall. Coming in just a little short behind Corride and Fatboy Bowl, 300. First place finish was a 138.
Wow, crazy. Hitzian is in his Ganon fight, and it looks like Moogle will be pulling the pedestal, and will not get the item he wants. He'll eventually get it, just not from the pedestal.
Yeah, it's pretty tempting to blind pull Ped. Pulling Ped is, the goal of every seed, right?
I thought so.
We're joined in the voice chat by the one, the only. He's just a boy.
GG's.
GG. That was an interesting seed. I kind of liked it.
All right, so before we get too deep talking about the seed, I have to ask you this one question. Did you forget about Ice Rod Cave? Because I know you skipped it on purpose probably at the beginning, but you never went back to it.
There was a moment I was going to go do it before Ice Palace. And then I was like, nope, I'm just going to go straight to Ice.
Okay. It was
Bombos. Oh.
So if you had gone to Ice Rod Cave, you could have skipped out on finding the flippers completely.
I knew I was flippers or bomb posts basically. And with all the information I got from the flippers basically leading to the bow, I was like, they have to be somewhere. I skipped a few locations and they got to be one of the places I skipped. And I just assumed Bombos was going to be Trolley or something.
Or in GT or something.
Yeah. I had to make a play on either one. I was like, do I check stuff after the bow or do I go back and just try and beat something? And deep down, I got lucky, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. And while we were talking, Hitsian does take down Ganon, getting second place on our restream. Good for 6th place overall behind Bonta and Linlin, who finished after He's Just a Boy, with a time of 1:45.55. We had very varying routes through this game. Hitsian was god routing for a while, and then you were god routing for a while, but nobody had like everything all at once, you know?
Yeah, it felt really nice at points. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe how it was just like everything was falling in my lap. I was like Ice Palace at the end. I was like, this sucks. This play really didn't pay off. And then, okay, Meyer access. Meyer gives you bow. It's like, oh my god, everything's happening.
Yeah, the big deciding play in the whole seed, like there were lots of little ones, but the big one was Pendant Lambo.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I forgot about that.
Yeah, Moogle Charm and Matt the Ogre both ended up basically last locationing the Canis Moria on Pendant Lambo, as well as Hitsian. However, Hitsian went to Pendant Desert before his first crystal, I believe. But he said after finding 2 items in the front, chose not to kill the boss. And unfortunately orphaned that pendant for a very long time.
I probably would have orphaned it too, but I knew I wanted to go to Pod and Eastern right after, and I'm like, might as well. Who knows what'll happen, right?
Right. So basically everybody ended up full clearing Thieves Town eventually, although only Hitsian did it on his first dive. And everybody full cleared Swamp except for you, because you had that cane.
Also, FYI, boots were on Armos Nights in Eastern, just in case you're wondering whether.
Yeah, so we had a bow locked behind the bow.
Oh, ooh, that is mean logic for how to get that bow.
Yeah, our other 3 runners all double dipped Meyer, got the bow, and then went over to
And all 3 pulled pedestal, I believe, too.
No, it's just Moogle and Matt. Hitsian was probably going to do it after turning in Green Pendant, but he got the cane.
And I seem to struggle at the end of every seed with closing it out. Can't, my past 3 seeds, I think I've died or fallen to Ganon. It's just uncharacteristic. And
it's just breathe, man. Just breathe.
Exactly.
Yeah, take 1 extra second.
That's what I did in the second fight. I was basically in the same scenario, waiting with my fire rod to shoot the torch. And then I was like, I'm just going to let Ganon do his thing here. And then we'll continue the silverless Ganon.
Of course, it gets worse like if you have the IRC open and nobody's finished yet.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I'm like walking into GT and like no one's finished yet, I'm just like, please Goomba, please save me. Just finish the game so I can calm down. On the whole, though, this was a pretty gross seed, honestly. We had a, progression on Pendant Blind, Pendant Lammo, and Pendant Armos. Of course, you only needed one of them.
Yeah, it was pretty spread out. You have to dip. You have to dip the pendant dungeons. But at least it was only 6 crystals, so it evens up for it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Well, if it had been, you would have been still searching for bombos.
Yeah.
I mean, surely you would have gone to Ice Run Cave.
Yeah, I knew it was there. It's just, I hit a point where I was like, there's no way. I pretty much wrote off all the Sphere 1 locations at that point that I had left of like the little ones. I should have done it earlier.
Yeah,
but,
maybe I'm not the best person to give advice, but it's my opinion that you should never write off any Sphere 1 location. Because as soon as you do, that's when it burns you, right?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, we'll get burned every now and then.
Didn't happen this seed. I mean, you got burned like a little bit. It probably would have been faster to do TR instead of the Sound and Swamp.
Yeah, I would have preferred it to
very
go,
small
to TR instead, but yeah, it would have been interesting. I would have been the only runner to do TR, I guess. Then, hey.
Yeah,
right
else
on the restream for sure.
Yeah.
I suppose we're not going to get an interview with Hitsian today. He should have joined by now. Unfortunately, I'm not in the IRC to see.
Oh, he did say no.
Oh, he's in the chat. I see. Hi, Hitsian. We love you.
Well, GG's Hitsian either way. And if you have any questions for him, feel free to message him in chat. He will be answering questions. As Matt will head into his Aga 2 fight, and Moogle will be heading into GT.
Well, guys, I'm gonna dip out, but thank you guys for commentating, and the trackers and the restreamers.
Our pleasure. Thanks for the fantastic seed. Fantastic run through a seed.
Thank you.
Yeah, finally, GG's. Good job.
Down goes Aga 2. Matt the Ogre headed to Ganon. Moogle Charm just getting started on this GT clear.
Yeah. I'm wondering if the first place and second place runners ended up going and doing Lambos first and then going to TR rather than going to Swamp.
Yeah, it's possible, but the time between their finish and He's Just a Boy finish, like if we erase the phase 4 fall to Ganon, it's only like a couple minutes or so. So I feel like there's a lot of different things that could happen to just save 2 minutes on He's Just a Boy run. I mean, like, there's a world where you do Pendant Blind, you get the flippers, and you do Pendant Lammo and you get the cane before dipping any flipper dungeons. And then you go to Mire first, and there's your go mode. And then you get to go mode both Swamp and Ice. Like, that would save a huge ton of time.
Yeah. So Matt setting up his torch glitch. Gets it, and now we'll start his 12 spins on Ganon.
Charm did pick up his big key from Fire Snakes, headed up the gauntlet. So about, I don't know, 8 minutes behind, 7 minutes behind.
Yeah, it seems about right.
Sounds good, Hitsian. He's saving his luck for the qualifier.
When did the qualifier start?
They've already started. I think we're up to like number 13 or something out of 15 or 16 or something. There should be one tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Sweet.
And then I know there's one on Friday in the afternoon. That's the one I'm going to be doing. That's my 5th.
Well, while we're waiting for Matt to cross the finish line, good luck to you on that one. And he crosses the finish line. Get your GGs in chat for Matt the Ogre.
GG. Matt finishes 3rd on our restream, 9th overall behind Asder and Frostbite, who finished after his stand, with a time of 1:55:33. See if we can get Matt in here for an interview.
Oh, he's in setup, so I'm gonna guess he's gonna come join us.
It's the old fake out. He's just pretending to want to talk to us.
Well, while we wait, Moogle is in the gauntlet, just about finishing up, getting ready for his Landmolas to fight, and eventually Moldorm. And Matt has joined us in chat. GG's, buddy.
GG. See, I told you he was just pretending to want to talk to us. No, I think we might have some technical difficulties. If you can hear us, Matt, we cannot hear you.
Hello?
Hi.
GG's, Matt.
Thank you. GG's.
Yeah, for sure. Pretty gross seed, right?
Oh, that seed. It's like last location, everything.
Yeah. Yeah, like the answer was just the pendant, right?
That's right. The last several seeds I've done. So.
But like which pendant? Oh yeah, all of them. That's right. I feel like your route through this seed is probably the most standard. Like anytime you had like a decision to make, you went to the place that was most likely to have progression or the most dense area with progression. And unfortunately, this seed just super rewarded more logic greedy or thorough plays going to those pendants and killing those bosses.
Yeah, when I went to Desert the first time, I wanted to do Landmolas, and there was no item on there, so I was like, eh.
Yeah,
like, would have just been green pendant, and...
Very easy to discount that green pendant.
Yeah, this seed was pretty gross having the 3 progression items on the 3 pendant bosses.
Not sure if you're trying to talk to us. I keep seeing your button light up, but no sound.
I hear him typing.
Oh, Moogle Charm. Just Ether, man. Yeah, there's a little bit of technical difficulty preventing us from having a more fluid conversation with Matt. But Matt, feel free to tell us your thoughts on the seed, and we'll just sit here and listen.
Okay. Yeah, the seed seemed pretty good. It's like early Moon Pearl and Escape. Titans, Myths, and Dark Cross Room, and I was happy to do that before going to Eastern Palace. Then after that, it was just, do I want to do dip these Dark World pendants, and yeah.
Yeah, I certainly don't disagree with any of the choices that you made in this seed. Like, even the ones that wouldn't be the same choices that I made, like, they're definitely not the wrong choice, just happen to not lead to the progression for this particular seed. Can't feel too bad when it's the seed that's out to get you instead of yourself.
Yeah, I think I played Plandos that were nicer than this.
Moogle Charm has started his Ganon fight.
But I'd like to thank you, Koi and Nitro, for commenting.
Our pleasure.
Our pleasure, for sure. Moogle will be starting his spins shortly.
Is that enough to phase? Okay, cool. We're in phase 3.
I was gonna say, I think it looked like he went through phase 2 twice or 3 times.
Yeah, you got a couple cycles there. Little unfortunate. Like often I like if it's in a position where it's really difficult to get the one cycle, I'll just switch to Cape and make sure I get it. And in a situation like this, like even with Silverless, we have half magic, magic refill in a bottle, the fire rod, and the lamp. Magic's not really a concern. Oh, misses that slash though. It looks like it didn't register. Oh, because he was in phase 4. Duh.
I have yet on my own to figure out how to actually hit Ganon in phase 4 with the spins. So how, for new runners who are out there, how exactly do you do it?
How do you do Silverless?
Yeah, how do you actually get the spins in? Where are you supposed to spin?
So there's when Ganon starts his teleport to a new location, there is a 2-frame window where he is vulnerable to tempered sword or better damage. So like a spin. 2 frames is 1/30th of a second, so it sounds like really, really tight, right? But the thing is, when you do a spin, you're doing damage in that whole area all around you for like a good 30 frames. So as long as your 30 frames overlap those 2 frames, you'll hit Ganon.
Got it.
So for the execution of it, what you do is you stand kind of near Ganon, bait his shot, step around it, step back into him, and let go of B. And you'll do a spin and rebound safely away. Unless you walk into the fire mat! Clutch Fairy. Let's go.
Well, that's the best place to have a clutch fairy, ain't it? But that's definitely something I'm gonna have to learn, because I always look for silvers or need silvers when I play the seeds on my own.
So silvers, before V31, Silverless Ganon was arguably the most important tech in the game when it comes to speedrunning. With V31, I think it is definitely the most important tech in the game. Because that progressive...
This one.
Yeah, progressive mode means that you are much more likely to be in a situation where it's Silver's go mode.
Yeah. Well, in this one, it would have been Aga 2, Aga 1 to get that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Silver's here saves, or Silverless Ganon here saves probably over 5 minutes.
Yeah. So definitely something to work on for new
It's
runners like myself.
it's definitely easier than it looks. And there's some really awesome guides out there you can find on how to learn this. And this strategy here, where he's using the fire rod to try and get 3 hits per cycle, is not necessary. That saves just a little bit of time over doing it with the lamp.
Well, Moogle Charm gets Ganon down, and will cross the finish line. As long as he doesn't fall, we'll get your GGs in chat. Crosses, get your GGs in chat for Moogle Charm.
GG. Moogle Charm finishes 4th on our restream here, and 11th overall, behind 1UP, who finished after Matt, with a time of 2:05:32. I should probably just join the IRC to find out if he's going to do an interview. He's Just a Boy finished 3rd overall, My Pink Friday, 1st on our restream.
Well, he is in setup, so it looks like he might be joining us for probably a quick interview. Well, either way, this was a fantastic race. Make sure you join all 4 runners on Twitch. And of course, my co-commentator, Koi, as we wait for Moogle Charm to join us in chat. He's Just a Boy, Matt the Ogre, Moogle Charm, and Hitsu.
Yeah, still, like, this was just a gross seed. like you saw it happen, right? Some of the runners decided to eventually kill a pendant boss, and for none of our runners was that one pendant boss enough. They had to go to another one later.
Yeah, for sure. And not only that, all 3 out of the 4 ended up killing all 3 pendant bosses, and 2 out of the 4 pulled the pedestal. So, yeah.
Not sure what's going on with Moogle. He should join us soon, though. Can you hear us now, Moogle Charm?
Koi, I can hear you now.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Mute my game right now.
Well, welcome to the voice chat, GG.
Yeah, GG's, Moogle.
Though it's probably not your favorite seed of all time.
A second.
Yeah, no problem.
Hear me now?
Yes,
Yeah,
we
we
can.
hear you.
About that.
So your thoughts on this seed?
It's awful.
We agree.
Yeah, we agree.
Going into all those pendant dungeons was not fun.
Yeah, the awkward thing is that the only one you actually had to do was Landmo. but only one of our runners went to land mode before blind.
Yeah, it was. I don't know what to say. It's like, so I did a 6-6 right before this with a couple of folks, and it was the same thing where we all went like 2 hours, and it was pendant dungeons and just not fun to do.
Yeah, it's 6-6. It's supposed to be faster, right? I need fewer crystals. That's supposed to be faster.
Right. Yeah.
Little did you know that all three had some progression, although, as Koi mentioned, you only needed to go kill Landmo. But either way, clutch finishing it out, and
Thanks.
good job.
Yeah, this is my first time on the restream. I've been playing for a couple months now, and trying to get into as many races as I can. I had a little bit of a rough go at it in the qualifiers, like last locationing everything.
Right. I mean,
yeah,
you're way
one's pretty
better at 2 months than I was at 2 months. That's for sure.
Thanks.
I don't know. Link to the Past is a hard game. You know,
Yeah.
it takes a lot of experience, a lot of seeds to really start getting a feel for the execution. And then Rando itself adds this whole layer of complexity, and it can be a pretty big challenge to get to the point where seeds start making sense again. And even when it does, every now and then you get a seed like this that just completely throws everything you've learned out the window, and suddenly you have to go kill all the pendant bosses.
I hear ya. Yeah, it got to the point today where I'm like, screw it, I'm just gonna go to the pedestal and pull it and hope that was some progression. But yeah.
Yeah, you weren't the only one.
Yeah, you weren't the only one.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm gonna go back and rewatch this to see kind of what everybody else did in what order.
Yeah, the big play, like the big difference maker in the seed, was when you go to Limolus, right, to get the cane, because the cane was hard required. You couldn't skip that. But everybody except for He's Just a Boy felt that blind was more appealing and got sidetracked by the flippers, full clearing swamp and the like. And then He's Just a Boy, who did do Lammo first, still had to go to blind because he orphaned the Ice Rod Cave for Bombos. So, like, even when you make the right decisions, you have to make all the right decisions, or it's basically the same as everybody else.
Yeah, I hear ya.
Yeah, but definitely go back and watch and see, because you definitely were right up there, and just orphaning that green pendant for too long was sadly the downfall. But it's not necessarily what you make that's right in one seed, it's just making sure you follow through, is what my recommendation as a non-runner would be. Because what worked for you, what didn't work for you in this seed, could be the thing that makes you go into go mode in an hour in the next one.
Well, I think we're about ready to close it down here on Speed Gaming. Do you have any final thoughts, Moogle before we do so?
No, I mean, I'm gonna keep practicing, try and keep getting better, and you know, hopefully you guys will see me on some further restreams doing a little bit better.
Awesome. I love
sure
it.
we
I
will.
love hearing about new people joining the community, the competitive community especially. Well, guys, I think that's going to do it for us. Make sure to give our runners a follow. He's Just a Boy, Moogle Charm, Matt the Ogre, and Hitsian Late. All fantastic runners. Definitely worth a follow. As well as our trackers today, Nilson Alex and... wasn't it Math Girl? Yeah, Math Girl. She already left the voice chat. And Math Girl. And my co-commentator, Nitro6003. Thank you so much, Nitro, for being here with me
Thank you,
today.
buddy. It was a pleasure.
Make sure to stay tuned to Speed Gaming, guys, for speedrunning fun, especially the qualifier race happening tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, I'm not sure which speed gaming channel. I would assume this one, but not sure. There will be no daily race in favor of the qualifier race. Definitely worth a watch. They always put really fantastic runners up on the restream for that. Until then, have a wonderful night, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Good night.